wanted to try popping some popcorn over the fire for a long time. That might be too much, I don't know. Alright, something I've been wanting to do for a while now. Pop some popcorn over the fire. Not sure if it's going to work out or not. I'm kind of rushing it. Well, sun's setting. A little bit late to make my video, but got a little list here. Oh, it's kind of fell too. Oh, let's see. Stir it up. There we go. All right. Well, I wanted to do today's video about some of the things I learned this hunting season, or I should say takeaways from this hunting season. Oh, they're popping. They're popping already. That didn't take long at all. Should get that on video. Whew. They're mostly done. All right. So, first takeaway. I pretty much figured from now on I'm going to hunt with my scope on low power. So, meaning if you bump a deer or an elk or something, a mountain lion, a wolf, I mean obviously if you have a tag for it, that way you don't have to do that one extra step to dial your power down, or you have to think about, oh, what's my gun at right now, especially if you have a second focal plane scope or whatever and you're using all your vertical marks to gauge distance. You pretty much have to be at exactly the right magnification that reticle is calibrated for, otherwise you're going to be off. So at short distance it's not really that big of a deal, but for me, I use a first focal plane, so that's definitely not an issue. But for me, I don't want to miss the opportunity to shoot a really big buck or a deer or something because my scope was at 25 power and I'm hiking through thick brush. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So pretty much anytime I leave the truck or whatever, I dial it all the way down. When I get home, I make sure it's all the way down. That way if I grab it and I forget to dial it all the way down, it's dialed all the way down. If you need to dial all the way up to say 25, 20, 15, whatever that is, you're probably not bumping a deer or anything like that. So you have time to dial it up and range and hold over, whatever, however you shoot. So pretty much it's best to have your scope all the way down at all times. If you need it up, you generally have time to put it up. So there's the first takeaway. Now I gotta check my popcorn because it looks like it's pretty much done. Look at that. Full pan of popcorn. Wow. A little warm. Oh no, way too hot. I thought I overfilled it a little bit. Very good. Now I gotta eat all this. Very hot. This is too hot right here. But the popcorn is delicious. A little bit of snow, a little bit of charcoal. Ain't never hurt nobody. All right. Smoke's rolling right at me. Well, okay, back to what we were talking about. There's a snowcat. So the next thing, always be aware of the weather. So in most places in the Rocky Mountains or the Cascades or anything like that, the weather can change so fast. And in Montana, there's a saying, you know, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. Super true, because it will rain on you when you least expect it. It will snow on you when you least expect it. It will get sunny when you least expect it. So if you're prepared for a blizzard, also at the same time, keep in mind that it might be raining, it might be just a beautiful sunny day, and you might forget your sunglasses or whatever, or think you don't need them or whatever. So just always check the weather. I mean, obviously you can't predict everything, but if you don't check the weather before you go out, you're doing yourself a disservice. So check the weather. Most importantly, I learned to be aware of snowfall. So they obviously can't predict exactly how much snow is going to fall where, but if you see it says like, you know, a week of sunshine or whatever, you know, you're pretty good without snow. But if it's like on and off snowing, snow showers for a week straight, then you could be running into some trouble. Now for me, that could have been a really bad day, because when I shot my buck, he ran like, I don't know, over a mile, probably close to 2 miles. Onyx isn't exactly accurate, and I didn't have my Garmin running, so somewhere around there, somewhere 1.5 miles to 2 miles of running and taking me around. Now it was getting close to sunset, and I was thinking, man, I should probably back out and give him some time and then come in the morning. But I checked the weather, and I knew it was going to snow that night. So if it snows, my tracks are gone. All the blood spots are gone. It was already hard enough with how little blood there was, and being a big tough buck with really thick hair this time of year, it wasn't bleeding very much, and every once in a while he'd bed down and there'd be a pretty good pile of blood, but he'd take pretty long jumps. And in the mountains, when you got snow kind of like this, all wavy and rolly, you could have a blood droplet right on the other side of your 1-inch tall bump, and you'll never know. Now if it snows on top of that, you're screwed. So I made a good call to keep chasing him, and I was probably going to keep chasing him into the dark, even though I probably bumped him multiple times, because I found probably somewhere around 6, 7, 8, maybe even beds of him laying down. So I figured he probably would have laid down and stayed down if he wasn't getting bumped. But at the same time, I knew it was going to snow that night, and I did not want to lose him, because if it snowed and covered all that up, I don't think there'd be a way for me to find him. And then you bring dogs in. If it snows 5 inches, your dogs are probably useless. So make a good call on your tracking. I did not want to track him in 2 miles when I'm clearly seeing he's bedded down and he's getting back up over and over again, but I didn't know what else to do. It was getting dark. I knew it was going to snow. At the very least, it was going to rain, and all of my tracks and blood is going to be gone forever. So know the weather, make the right call. Third thing on my list, have fun. So a lot of guys take hunting very, very seriously, and understandably, especially if it's your primary way of putting food on the table for your family. That's a big deal. But if things aren't going your way, try to make the best of it is what I learned, because there's nothing worse than really having a bad day hunting and really not seeing any game and wounding an animal or blood trailing for forever, or just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or having 10 other trucks parked at the trailhead. There's nothing worse than having a bad hunting experience and still choosing to be miserable and choosing to be sad or choosing to be angry and not enjoying what you do have. You do have the time off work. You do have the time in the wilderness, in the woods, in the mountains, in the forests. At the very least, you have fresh air that you don't have in the city or near cities and near highways and cars and stuff. So there's always a positive. Even if hunting's not going well, you're getting a workout, you're getting a breath of fresh air, you're getting nice views, you're getting nice weather, you're learning something, you're learning where the animals aren't, you're learning where the people are. So at the very least, you're gaining experience, and I think that's something to be happy about. And you're only sharpening your hunting skills and abilities. So that's my biggest thing about that, is just try to have fun. So many guys hunt and take it way too seriously, don't know how to have fun, don't know how to laugh, don't know how to share their hunting experiences with the other guys, and they just want to take it all in, suck it all up, and have the best hunting experience and kill the biggest thing. And if it doesn't go that route, they're just miserable wrecks. And that's why finding a good hunting partner is so hard. Let's get some of this. That's a mountain man popcorn right there. A little burnt, a little smoke. Perfect. All right, fourth thing on my list. Start hunting earlier in the day. So this is something I have a problem with. Not because I hate hunting, but because I love sleeping. And I love feeling like I accomplished some things at home before I leave home. And especially on, like, weekends and stuff, I've been waking up early all week long, and then I'm finally getting a chance to sleep in, and so I definitely take it. So if you're hunting, it's kind of a problem, because you're cutting yourself valuable time that you could be out in the woods finding animals and making kill shots. So I don't know the easy solution to it other than just be miserable, because you need to sleep, but you need to hunt. You need to be out. You can't shoot things off your back porch all the time. I have done it before, but you can't do it all the time. So for me, the takeaway is I wished too many times that I would have started hunting earlier. So whatever you got to do to get everything squared away at home, do the dishes, take out the trash, do all your vehicle maintenance, do all your laundry, do all your chores at home, tidy things up at home before you leave. That way you're not feeling guilty for leaving early or leaving late. Either sucks. So if you have to, I figure, do all your stuff throughout the week. That way come weekend, come morning time, you can wake up early. You have nothing else you need to do. You don't feel guilty. Nobody's holding you down. You don't feel responsible for a mess or something. And generally, me, I like doing things at home. I like tidying things up. I like organizing. I love making my home place comfortable for me and my wife. But basically, I need to find better ways to do that throughout the week when I can't hunt, or when the sun's already down after work or whatever. So that's the fourth thing on my list. There were just too many days when I got out to a good spot, I started seeing deer, and I had to leave because I had to make it home to something, or I don't know, I wasn't seeing game or something, or I got there and there's already too many trucks, but it's too late in the day to go anywhere. So basically, I just wish I started my hunts a little bit earlier in the day. That way I still have time throughout the day to do things, to change spots if I have to get higher up on the mountain before it gets too dark, things like that. And the day I shot my buck, I actually started at like 1 o'clock, sometime like around there, around lunchtime, past lunchtime. And I was getting all the way up to where I shot the buck, and I had about 2 hours left of daylight, and I barely saw any deer. I saw a little buck, I got him on the video, but it was already getting pretty late in the day and I wasn't really seeing anything, and I still wanted to climb a lot more. So thank God that buck was a little bit lower, and I ended up making a good shot and killed him and took him home and stuff, but that was way too close for comfort. I don't want to do that again, so I'm going to try starting my hunting earlier in the day. Alright, fifth thing on my list, have a plan to get meat home. This seems like a pretty self-explanatory thing, but I feel like a lot of guys don't do it. I've gone hunting with a lot of guys that don't carry game bags, that don't carry a Garmin InReach or any other communicating device, that don't have a horse, that don't have a drag sled, that don't have a bike, that don't have a four-wheeler, a snowcat. I mean, I don't understand how you're going to do this. I mean, you can carry it all, but then you have to have a meat hauling pack, and a lot of guys don't even have that. So I don't understand what the point is of going out hunting 5 miles in, 10 miles in, 2 miles in even, and not having a good plan. So for me nowadays, I pretty much entirely go hunting with the Mystery Ranch Sawtooth 45. That way I can take out meat with me, or skull and antlers and stuff, and I don't have to come back all the way to the truck or the trailhead or whatever, the tent, and get a meat hauling pack or get a drag or get some kind of meat carrying device or plan. So always have a plan, basically. On this particular hunt this fall, my buck, I ended up shooting about, almost a mile? Almost a mile, or just over a mile from the Jeep. Now that's not bad, and I could have quartered him up and taken him back out, and it was pretty much right on an old logging road that was decommissioned and gated off. So it would have been pretty easy to just chop it all up and carry it out. But I wanted to just kind of get out of there. I didn't want to really do all that in the dark, way out in the middle of nowhere by myself. I have no problem with it, but I figured it was only a mile. I could just drag the deer to the Jeep and just do it all at the Jeep, where I have more lighting, I got more comforts, I got a chair, I got some gloves and some cleaning supplies and stuff. I could take my time, I could sit and warm up. Figured why the heck not if I'm only a mile away. So my plan was to drag the deer, which I did. Very difficult to do, let me tell you. That was a very big buck, and my paracord was not up to the task. So I either need to revisit my paracord, or next time I just need to plan to just chop it all up from the beginning, because dragging it is a pain in the butt. Thankfully, when I got to the truck, my in-laws came with the pickup truck, and we all threw it all up in there and took it home whole, and then did it at home, so that was even better. But basically the plan is to chop it all up next time and just haul it out quarter by quarter, and that should be a little bit easier, I think, next time. Alright, sixth thing on my list. If the snow is crunchy, kind of like this, but worse, just go home. There's no way you can silence that. You can't tiptoe in that. If you walk really, really slow to try to be quiet, you're probably going to be very, very cold. So you either need to be super, super layered up and try to stay warm quietly by like tiptoeing through the woods, through this crunchy stuff. Let me tell you, there's no way you can make it quiet. Don't matter how still or how slow you walk, it's going to be very crunchy, and you can't fool a deer's ear. So if you think you can hear somebody walking in the woods, crunching on the snow or whatever, imagine how much better a deer can, who have ears like 3 times your size or 4 times your size. A mule deer does, at least. And they've been doing this their whole life, and they live by this. So you can't fool a deer's ears. And I don't have an easy solution for hunting in crunchy snow. Otherwise, maybe you can sit in a tree stand or a ground blind, but then you need lots of clothing. If you got a foot of snow like this, it's probably pretty cold. Like, I'm already pretty cold. My toes are numb, even though I'm sitting right by the fire. But I haven't found a good way to hunt the crunchy snow, and I would love some tips if people got it. Otherwise, just road hunt. I don't know how else to do it. Get up really, really high and try to make really far shots. But to get up really, really high, you know, November, late November or even October, it's probably going to be way, way, way too deep of snow in late November if you get up really high. So I don't have a good plan for that, but basically I think I wasted way too much time just crunching through snow, bumping everything out of the woods without even knowing it, wasting a lot of precious time when I probably should have hunted different areas. Okay, last thing, bring hand warmers. I got way too cold, way too much. So when you're moving, you're sweating, you're hot, I need to take my gloves off, my mittens, my coat, whatever it is. Just get way too hot. But then when you stop, you get so cold. And if you're retaining that heat with a good retaining layer like a down coat or some kind of windbreaker or something, you can stay pretty warm if you've hiked your butt off and you've gotten warm, and then you're just holding all that in. But if you unzip your coat or you take your mittens off or something like that, there's no way to gain that warmth back. All that's completely lost. And your hands are going to start, and your feet too, are going to start getting really cold really fast if you open that up and let all that heat out. And so I haven't found a good way to get that heat back otherwise, other than just hiking again and getting up and moving, which could be a problem if you're seeing a bunch of does getting close, or you're in a good area or whatever, or you don't want to go anywhere, snow's too crunchy or something like that, and you want to sit still. I don't have any good way of bringing that heat back other than like a hand warmer, like one of those that you can unzip the pouch and shake it all up and get that air in there, and then it starts getting hot. And you could use that to warm your hands and maybe even have some in your shoes too, to warm your toes up a little bit, because it's really hard to get that heat back once you've lost it. So yeah, there's like 7 takeaways, and I'm sure there's more, but I don't want to make this video too long, and I want to get to my popcorn. But thanks for watching. I wanted to show this thing to you guys. My sister-in-law made me a SawtoothWild hat, a custom leather hat for Christmas. So you're gonna start seeing me wearing this thing more often on the channel. Love it. What do you guys think? Pretty awesome. So she does a whole bunch of leather work, halters and bridles and I don't even know, cinches. She doesn't do reins, but a whole bunch of leather work stuff. So if you guys need some custom work done, I'll send you her way. I think she's got a Facebook page at Log House Leather. So Log House Leather, look her up. And she's staying really busy. She's doing a lot of work, and I love all her work. She's done really, really great. So if you guys need some custom stuff like a hat or horse stuff, then find her there. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'm going to enjoy my popcorn now. There's a lot of work to get it this far, to build a fire and get all the way over here and not get stuck on that whole road there. Oh, that's good.